What is gangster capitalism?
Thanks for tuning into the Conscious Hour. This is Saturday. This is Professor Morandi. Um, the U.S. has been moving its weapons around because it's, of course, preparing for a strike against Iran. But they're moving their weapons because they were vulnerable. And you have to consider something. Iran has been very patient. It hasn't unleashed all of its arsenal. It won't. It's strategically been disabling different countries, US bases, listening devices, all the technology, blowing them up. But now we've got Saudi Arabia and these other countries that are, you know, supporting America. But Iran is saying, look, we don't want to go to the next step because the next step will create a global catastrophe. So there's a word that I brought out in the world. I put it out there about 5 months ago. It's called Gangster Capitalism. And just think of the mob bosses. This is exactly who the U.S. is. It's gangster capitalism. It believes it can go anywhere in the world and steal anybody's resources. And what's interesting is now the Iraqi resistance is supporting Iran. Well, why not? Because you have to remember, and most people don't even know this, but Iraq was an asset of the U.S. government. Yeah. I mean, Saddam Hussein, he worked with the United States. The United States funded the bioweapons lab, and then after they got the bioweapons lab and they released it on the Kurds, they blamed it on Saddam Hussein, but yet the U.S. paid for it. So this is this game they've been playing. It's like a cat and mouse, or go hide over here. Well, now Iran is saying, okay, fine. You've already struck, and you are preparing now. The U.S. is preparing, and Israel is preparing to strike more targets inside Iran. When you do that, listen to what's coming.
And all of these cities, Behbahan, Ahvaz, Abadan, these cities were attacked by using these HIMARS and ATACMS from Kuwait. And what is the perception of the way that the United States is moving around the weapons in Kuwait?
Well, the United States is moving its air defense systems from northern Iraq. And that, I think, is an admission of defeat. And that the continued Iranian strikes are only going to decimate U.S. capabilities further. And the same is true with Kuwait and across the Persian Gulf. Kuwait is one of the places where the Americans have stored a lot of equipment. And a lot of that equipment is to help the United States if it decides to carry out a land offensive against Iran and take islands or Park Island, for example, or territory along mainland, where they choose to assault the mainland. So the Iranians, and of course Kuwait, is deeply involved and assists the United States in carrying out not just airstrikes, but as you pointed out, missile strikes. So the Iranians are focusing on Kuwait. They've been focusing more on Bahrain because of the large amount of American equipment there, Kuwait, and of course Oman, or Jordan, Jordan, because of the U.S. Air Force and the capabilities that the United States has gathered there for a possible airstrike or a series of airstrikes or air campaign against Iran. So these are the areas that the Iranians are focusing on. But again, have no doubt, if the United States escalates, the nature of the war will change. Iran will no longer be targeting U.S. assets or maybe a couple of Kuwaiti assets in the north. They'll be going for the electrical power plants. They'll be going for the refineries and the oil installations, and they'll destroy it all. And they'll destroy the ports. And and then of course there'll be the Iraqi resistance. That'll be an end to Kuwait. So right now, the Iranians are striking targets to prevent Americans from being able to to wage war against Iran or to weaken the United States in its war against Iran. But if the United States chooses to target critical infrastructure, then everything changes. There won't be a Kuwait after Iran, after a few days. Or, yeah, I guess after a few days at most. I mean, if there is a sustained, campaign and they're targeting Iranian power plants and they take out Tehran's power plants, it's going to be inevitable. The Iranians will be unforgiving. And the Iranians have shown enormous patience, Nima. And as you can see online, the biggest criticisms directed towards Iran are because Iran has been holding back. Except for those who are, mercenaries for Saudi Arabia or the Emirates who support Saudi Arabia, the Emirates, and it's for money. You have them in our region, people who are on the payroll, people who will follow them, whatever they say. Even though Saudi Arabia and these countries have carried out aggression against Iran, against Yemen, against Iraq, they will support Saudi Arabia because that's where the money comes from. But if you look at popular sentiment, it's clear where people stand across the region. No matter how hard governments in our region try to turn them against Iran and the resistance or against Yemen, it's not working. But in any case, if the Iranians have so far, people are criticizing Iran for not hitting back hard enough. And in Iran, a lot of people are unhappy. They're saying that they destroyed our bridges, they've destroyed, they've targeted critical infrastructure, pharmaceutical plants, hospitals, and these countries help them do it. And so why aren't you hitting back the way they hit? So the demands in Iran are high. And if the United States moves in that direction, I think that will be a red line that once it has been crossed, then perhaps it'll be just too late for the Americans to even back away.
The attack on Jordan, latest attack on Jordan, was something new because Iran before was waiting for an American attack, then responding to that attack, retaliating. Then you see Iran going on some sort of, I don't know if we can call them preemptive attacks on Jordan, for example. And here is what Donald Trump said about that.
Losing faith in them because they do lie and they do misrepresent. Well, the other day, the 5 missiles were shot. We knocked them down, but we were in the midst of a negotiation. I mean, I'm waiting for Steve to call me. How's the negotiation going? And instead, I got a call from Pete that they just shot 5 missiles at one of our bases in Jordan.
The thing is, Nima, that they pretend, and so does Western media, as if like this is an Iranian provocation, or the Iranians did something like sinister. They carried out this surprise attack or sudden attack. We're at war. The United States does it every day. They've been doing it for 13 days in a row. Before that, they did it for 40 days in a row. During the ceasefire, they carried out assaults on Iran on many occasions. And even during the MOU, they did it 2 or 3 times. So here, the Iranians are not the Iranians are not initiating conflict. The United States, after 13 days, they stopped shooting. That doesn't mean there's a ceasefire. They don't dictate when we have ceasefires and when we have war. When they start, we have war. When they stop, we don't have war. That's not how it works. The Iranians will strike whenever they deem necessary. And if they deem it necessary, they'll strike now. As you rightly pointed out, they struck Kuwait. They struck U.S. assets in Kuwait. Why? Because the United States is waging war against Iran. In the case of Jordan, the United States was gathering for assets there that was a threat to Iran, and Iran did huge damage to the United States.
So Iran isn't the problem. Iran's just defending itself. Please hit the like and share button so other people can see this. Thanks for tuning into the Conscious Hour.